Okay, well, so if we go back to the plane of inertia, and we do this here like we always should do as good syncretists, and we model nature as nature wants us to model it. We don't go talking in protons, electrons, and neutrons, only if we need to make sure that the listeners know what we're talking about, but we actually give them the true version: dielectricity, magnetism, and electricity. And that's all there is. It's all there ever will be. There'll never be anything else to study in the universe, because the universe will not do anything other than dielectricity, magnetism, and electricity. That's all it knows how to do. And it knows how to do that ad infinitum, unlimitedly. So what we do is we do this. We go out and back in. Always comes back in. So you're saying that the plane of inertia, or the planet Earth, is nice and hot in here, isn't it? So they say that there's well, in Srimad Bhagavatam, it tells us that there are 7 subterranean planets. Now, it says that the length of these planets is the same as our planet. These are all terrestrial, these 8 planets. Above us, we have Mercury, Venus, Sun, Moon, Mercury, Venus, Sun, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn. It's a 17 system. It's a 15 planets system. Okay. Now, some say in the Hebrew system they have Sheol here, which of course is nothing other than shell or hell. And in Bhagavad Gita, this planet is called Putala.
Now, are these depicted in scriptures, like telling you these planes exist? I mean, it's like, how, you know, who's ever really been there? You know, like, how do we know? Just based off scriptures and
all the unadulterated Eastern Vedic scriptures talk honestly about this. When we come to the adulterated, redacted, tampered with Bible, it's still a great book, but it has been tampered with. There are too many versions, okay? You'll find that Srimad Bhagavatam probably only has about 3 or 4 versions. With the Bible, you've got about 17,000 different translations.
Different books, right. I mean,
right. So what they say is they call this Hades or hell. Hades in Greek, infer in Latin, infernal. Notice the Tala. This Tala is Atlantic. In Italian, we say, this Tala, we say Italia. Italia. That Tala is the same as the Tala. All of these are Talas. Tala. Hang on a minute. I'll get the right names. I'll just go to my board.
Yep. I'm reading the question in the chat. If you guys have questions, put it in the chat and I'll try to get the Santos tonight or maybe the next show or something. But I'm noting all of your questions. I'm trying to put that all together. But if you have questions, put them in the chat and I'll note them. If it's not tonight, will be another one. It will come to that.
It might take 20 shows until we answer, 20 questions.
It's okay. I'm very patient. I have time. For Santos, I have all the time in the world.
Okay, thanks, guys. I've got the name of 3. The other ones are long, and it's not necessary. This is Atala, guys. Remember, Atlantis sank below the waters. These waters here that are holding up our planet, there are other waters. There are other waters holding up these. Or if it's not water, it's an attenuated water called air that are holding these up, air cushions, okay? So just like they are. They are also being held up aloft in the air element. And Anaximedes, Anaxagoras, Anaximenes, Pythagoras, Plato, Socrates, Solon, Thales, they all knew this. They all knew about Hades, where it's hot. Why is it hot there? Why is it the Earth's core is hot? Well, that's compression. Compression is happening there. Where everything is compressed, it gets heated up. Where everything expands, it cools down. So it's simple. There is magnetic compression going on there. That's it. Everything is explained by magnetism. Everything. Not gravity, hocus pocus gravity. Can't explain anything with gravity. That's why they still can't. 300 years after the supposed hypothesis of gravity, like the hypothesis, the Copernican hypothesis of an upside down spinning retarded Santa ball. People still think they're upside down. Oh, look, children, let's go to the zoo upside down in Australia, shall we? Oh, look at those cargo ships. Look at those aeroplanes filled with 500 passengers landing upside down on a north-south runway when the Earth is rotating at a phenomenal 1,038 miles an hour, or 30 miles a second, kilometers a second, 19 miles a second. How does a plane land on a north-south oriented runway on an upside-down Humpty Dumpty globe?
You know, there was a reason. There was a reason also for naming it North Pole and South Pole, and it's like a battery. There's a North Pole, there's a positive and negative. So this is whole thing is so inverted.
It is inverted.
Oh yeah.
So obviously, what's going on is that heat is an artifact of toroidal energy. It's like the heat that's in your heart. Don't they say that blood is, we are hot-blooded mammals? And where does the heat come from? Well, it comes from torus fields, compression. Huh?
Yeah, where does the heat? Yeah. You're pointing something good here. Where does the heat come from my blood?
Magnetism. See, the heart is compressing the blood in the veins. They're going back to the vortex of the heart, and then they are being rarefied. And they're going out to cool off and to bring nutrients to the rest of the body. That's all happening magnetically. The heart is not a pump. It's impossible for the heart to pump hundreds of gallons of viscose blood through clogged veins. It's just impossible for a pump to do that, any kind of pump. You can't design a pump to do that anywhere, anyhow. It has to be through magnetic. So if this is your body torso, and this is your heart.
This is a question I never asked myself. Where does the heat of my body come from? You know, we're so bamboozled. We're so bamboozled and arrogant. We think we know everything.
I know.
That's right. So when we look at Earth, we see that's just an anagram for heart, right? So the planet of inertia, the planet of Earth, is also pumping blood. It's the magma of volcanoes, hot magma. Why is magma hot? Because magnetism. Hello. So the heart is not pumping, it's pulsing. They call it a pump. It's a pulsar. It's pulsating. Dum 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 dum. That's a pulse. You know, when they say, doctor says, let me hear your pulse rate. R-A-T-E, rate. It's funny how you find the word rate in heart. Now, and Ra, and Ria.
They tell you your heart rate.
Are you kidding me? Now, tell me you're kidding. Ria, the consort of Ra, the goddess and the god are in your heart. H, R, H. There you go. Just do it like that. Rhea. Rhea is the consort of Saturn. Saturn is Chronos, time. So Rhea in the heart, yeah, because the rate of the heart, Rhea, generated, is magnetism. And so what's happening is the body is an amazing array of toruses. You've got one big torus, then you've got your liver is a torus field, your lungs has a torus, its own torus field. And what they're doing is they are compressing and rarefying. When you breathe, you compress. That's heat, warmth, cool, rarefaction. So when you want to cool your food, you got hot tea. Why do you blow on it? Because blowing like that cools it down. But if you blow like this, you're actually heating it up. You don't blow with a, you blow with an F, not an H. H is hot, F is freezing, right? They're the letters are telling you. So the earth is breathing like that, and the earth is also, you see the rivers? The Nile River, the Amazon River, the Ganges, the Ganga. These are all, how do they flow? By magnetism. People say, oh yeah, but the rivers have got to go downhill. No, they don't. No, they don't have to go downhill. Rivers are flowing magnetically. It's the magnetism that draws the currents of fluid on the earth, just like magnetism creates the tides. They breathe. The tides go up, expand, then they contract.
That's true, because how the river flows, you know?
Magnetism.
Wow.
Magnetism, not gravity. Not gravity.
Makes a lot of sense.
Not the false god of gravity of the Freemasons.
Masonic.
Gravity, the globe, the Humpty Dumpty globe. See, that's the sigil of Saturn. Okay? That sigil, that's the vortex, that's Saturnian. See, when you see the Freemasons compass and square, what you're actually looking at is you should be able to, let's do it so that it's, how do we do a Star of David here, guys? Oh, easy. Sorry, just bring that up a bit more higher. So what you're doing is you're seeing, what's the Star of David? Or the Seal of Solomon, the soul of man. Well, that's masculine phallic, red, fire, and the feminine womb, the feminine principle, and they are interlocking and interlacing. These are two vortexes coming together. And that's how nature happens, through sexual electrical energy. Electrical energy is materially, physically sexual. Magnetodielectricity, the spiritual power of the universe, is transcendentally sexual. Sex is how everything is taking place in the whole universe. Sex, and only sex. Sense, emotion, fire, and earth. Earth is sense, emotion is water. This is fire and air. Fire and air. Sex, so the four elements.
So is that why they write sex in the cloud and we're too stupid and we think it's a subliminal message that they're giving us? Now I'm starting to get it. We're double blind here.
Yeah, what's going on? The reason why the elite love the subject of sex and have little kiddies like Miley Cyrus masturbating on stage and
Right.
and all of that gross behavior.
Yeah.
The reason is because they want little children to start becoming adults sooner rather than later so that they can mind control them and get them to consume their products, which is whatever Miley Cyrus is selling, shit music. Nothing like the good bands of old.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Bring back Led Zeppelin, man. I mean, they're already back. They're immortal and timeless. No one will remove them from #1 position ever, period.
It's like Bob Marley. I agree with you.
Oh yeah, of course. Bob is on top of spiritual enlightenment. Bob is the man, #1. You will not pass all these beautiful Rastafari teachings and praising of Jah and praising of the truth and getting out of Babylon. Get out of Babylon, my people. But these are the guys. These are the guys who get, pretty much. Led Zeppelin never had any media attention because the media did not want to promote them at all. Why? Because they brought freedom-loving music to the world. Right. Beautiful music. Yeah. Exquisite beauty in music. Bob Marley, he was lucky to get a contract. He was lucky. He was lucky he found a good guy who loved his truth. Otherwise, those truthers, they don't get, those musicians, they end up street performing. They don't get those big contracts and gigs. No. With
you can disturb, but you cannot disturb too much.
That's right, brother.
Yeah.
Now, while we're on the subject of sex and all that, is that basically also to keep people in the lower vibrational fields? Like you're explaining the lower chakras, right? So that's where you're keeping people within that state of mind,
Yeah, Rob, that's exactly right. They want you to have sex down here in hell at redshift, because redshift it's harmful sex. It's very lustful, and it entails having a physical ejaculation. Now, all people who practice white tantra, as opposed to grey tantra or black tantra, they know through experience, lifetimes of experience, that to save the seed during sex and to lift it up so you have your orgasm, a spiritual air orgasm with no ejaculation. Nothing wrong with orgasm. Nothing wrong with orgasm. Everything is having orgasms. Okay? That is the true essence of our bliss, is the orgasm. It teaches you your true nature, that is how you are indefinitely, infinitely in your unconditioned state. That is how you will feel. This is why we love to have the orgasm, because we want to feel what we really feel like.
Right.
Because we've lost touch with that feeling. We can have an orgasm 24 hours a day if we learn how to have it up here.
Mm-hmm.
You see, the smart ones, the more evolved ones amongst us, they don't ejaculate their life force down below in redshift. They bring it up through the chakras. Here is the green. Here is the orange and the yellow. And then the blue one will be in the throat chakra. And then this up here will be violet and indigo, which is basically just everything up here is blue shift, everything down here is red shift, just like the rainbow. So what you do is, if you can do that, you can retain those fluids. In the fluids are atoms of energy. Once you discard them or discharge them, you become what the Bible calls a practicer of loose conduct, like the prodigal son who had sex with all the prostitutes, ejaculating left, right, and center.
Right.
This is what, in the Bible, there was a guy called Onan. He was the third son of Judah. Judah had a daughter. I think it was Tamar. And so the first son married sorry. Yeah, well, the first son would have married his sister Tamar. Okay, so in Jewish law, the first son marries his wife. If he dies and there are single brothers left in the family, the next brother in line, the second oldest, has to marry that woman. So what happened was Onan was third. So his first brother, he died. The second brother married Tamar. Second brother dies. Onan comes in. Well, Onan thought he was smart. He said, I don't want to make this woman pregnant. I don't want to be a fool. I don't want to get sucked into having to raise her children when in the first place, she's not my wife. I don't love her. She was married to my older brother and then my second older brother. Now here I come along to get scraps. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have sex with her, but I'm going to pour my seed into the ground. Well, when God saw this, of course, don't take any of this literally, guys. This is all allegory,
Right.
okay?
Yeah.
No.
Please don't be that retarded.
We know you. We know you.
Yeah. So people who take this literally miss the sublime truths just due to their stupidity and ignorance.
You'll be getting messages now.
So Onan, he was ejaculating onto the ground, not inside of his wife to impregnate her. So God saw that and killed him. And he said, you don't waste your seed, dude. You do not waste your seed. That seed is sacred. You have to tithe and send that back to God, which means when you tithe, means you are actually abstaining from ejaculation at least 10% of the time, if not 100. And then you will be master of your dragon, your Kundalini dragon. And so in Japan, you know what a masturbator is called? I want to highlight that word, onanisto, named after Onan in the Bible. What's Japan? Why is Japan picking a very, very marked and peculiar example of seed wasting? Why did they borrow a Western biblical name, Onan, and call a masturbator or someone who wastes their seeds an onanisto? Onanisto. I used to go to Japan a lot, and you would hear some of the guys, talking in a very low voice when they're pointing to someone. They say, "Oh," if they don't like that person, they say, "Onanisto." Well, why? Because this individual is still not conscious enough to know where his life force is. If it's in you, you keep it in you because it is yours. Your blood is yours. Never give blood. That's all Rothschild owned. That blood bank, that's all for the Rothschild vampires, the elites who drink that blood. They make it appear that we need a blood industry. Well, that's bullshit because there's plenty of other. There's saline. All the salt, all the body needs is salt water, seawater. It's the same as the blood.
In French?
Yeah, but what if you're saving someone's life, though? I mean, that's,
Well, you can do that with plasma. You don't need blood. You don't need someone else's blood. When you mix your blood with someone else's blood, you're now back at square one. You have to now start your recycling, your cycles of necessity all over again because your blood is polluted. The most important thing to keep clean is the blood. You do not eat the blood of animals.
Right.
And in French also, it's the same thing. Eh? We use the word crosseur. Okay, when we say que c'est un crosseur, that's someone who is not very walking right in life. Là. So it's the same thing as you. Là. So we use that word also. C'est vrai. Hein? Puis, c'est la masturbation en français, mais il y a un mot slang qu'on utilise au Québec, c'est se crosser. Fait qu'on appelle ça un crosseur. C'est vraiment all related.
Yep, because these individuals are eating from the tree of life. The tree of life. See, every time you have a physical orgasm, you are eating from the tree of life, and you're depleting your life forces. This is why people get shriveled up, old, and they dry up and wrinkly. You see these old people, and in their 30s and 40s, they've already got wrinkles.
Right. A lot of people go bald.
That's too many freaking black tantric orgasms. You get old really, really quick. You lose the moisture in your skin. And that's what George Carey says. When you only have a certain amount of chrism produced by the Santa claustrum, that chrism, that Christos oil, call it sperm, call it pneumogastric nervous fluid, call it the fish, call it the bread, the manna. In the Bible, this is called many things. The manna of heaven. If you eat from that manna and you spill it and you don't tithe and return it back up to your head, heaven heaved up, you will perish. You will dry up like a dried up fruit and die. And the moment you die is the moment, the exact same moment, if you die of old age, that is, in your 60s, 50s, whatever, is the moment that the oil is depleted. This is why in the scriptures there are 10 virgins or 5 virgins. Doesn't matter. The point is there are 5 wise virgins and there are 5 foolish virgins. The wise virgins, they brought their lamps full of oil so that they could wait for the bridegroom all night long, and they brought extra oil. They brought another receptacle full of oil. The foolish virgins, they came up with about, I don't know, the lanterns half empty and just sort of waiting for the bridegroom with their oil in their lamp, just going, all right, well, he's going to, well, I'm a princess. I want to get married by this bridegroom. I've got my oil. Well, in an hour's time, the oil runs out and the bridegroom is delaying. So he turns up at 5 in the morning. The 5 foolish virgins, they've got extra oil. They keep topping up their lanterns and they're waiting. And when the groom is ready, he comes, he says, right, who's out there? 5 of you? Come and let's go to the nuptial suite. And the 5 stupid virgins who ejaculated all their oil, they've got no oil left. They're not going to have the alchemical marriage of the Lamb. That's what it's talking about. That marriage is not a literal marriage. It's the marriage of when you bring the oil back up, then it gets married with the Lamb of God standing upon Mount Zion with his 144,000. And now you have ascension, and you have activated your dormant brain cells because now you have been married with the Lamb, Aries, the cerebrum.
Now,
go.
I was gonna say, like, how do you preserve that oil then? Is by good eating, no meat, like, what are the different things we can do to preserve that? Or
good question.